I think we are on now. Hello everyone, again, video number 2. Can't believe I'm actually doing another one. I was scared to do this one, but hey, we're on the next one. So obviously I said this YouTube channel is basically about my mental health journey. Pretty much me trying to improve it over time and obviously giving you tips and advice of what I'm doing to hopefully help yours. Second video today is probably going to be a very long one. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to do like snippets of it. So you'll see a lot of like cuts in the video because I'm probably going to do it over a couple of days because I want to make sure I'm getting my point out properly because I'm not really used to like talking on camera. So I think today we'll be talking about anxiety. So the big emotion that's affected me for years, probably over a decade, that I've suffered with not being, being able to deal with it too well. Hopefully I'll talk about basically my past with it, basically how I went with it, basically what I went through, what I'm doing to deal with it, or what I've done to deal with it in the past, what's worked for me, what hasn't. And then basically through that, we can go through the video together and just see, basically how to best manage it. I also want to say in the video, I'm not a licensed therapist. So wherever I tell you any tips I've tried or anything that I've used in the past before, don't think like I'm telling you have to do them. They're just stuff that worked for me. If you want to try it yourself, go for it. If it doesn't help you, you don't have to use it. I'm just speaking on my personal experience, and hopefully anything that I give to you in this video, any tips, just helps you with your mental health journey as well. So, anxiety is the topic today. So, when did anxiety start for me? It started for me probably when I was 16. That was the first time I ever experienced it. For me, it always seems to be something when it relates to work or like an academic pursuits or anything that I put my mind to. I think it was always because maybe my upbringing. I was just like, my ethnic group being Muslim and stuff. Academics is the big thing. So it's like you have to excel really well. I'm lucky, like my parents weren't super strict with me, but I feel like is always that pressure that I've got to do well in school, or I'm not going to succeed, or I'm not going to be able to do this, I'm not going to be able to pursue the dream that I want, or I'm not going to be able to like do well in life because I didn't get that grade. So that was on my mind. So basically, tangent there. When I was 16, started GCSEs. That's when it started. So we had like an exam for religious education in 2016. That exam went okay. I didn't actually revise for it. I remember just writing a bunch of waffle on that paper, and then I was like, whatever. So then I came home and I was like, oh yeah, I've got a GCSE biology paper tomorrow. That should be fine. And then I had a tutor at the time when I was studying for my GCSEs. Whoops, sorry to about that. I had to change the environment there. So basically, where were we? So we went from biology teacher. So then he was teaching me biology on the day. And then I remember doing a mock paper because the exam was literally the next day. I remember doing that. I thought, oh my God, I'm making so many mistakes. He mocked my paper. And the amount of errors I made was crazy. Like I just kept making error upon error. I thought, oh my God, my exam is tomorrow. I have like 20 something GCSE exams coming up. And then I remember he left and he said, oh, just work on it. You'll get better at it. He left. And then I remember just panicking. Like my whole body started to shake. My breathing went up. I started to sweat. And I was thinking, what is this feeling? Like, what the hell? I've never experienced this before. And then obviously I look back on it now and I was like, it's anxiety. So I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And I remember just like breaking to tears because I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What's going to happen? What happens tomorrow? What if my grades are bad? I'm going to fail. I'm not going to get a good job. And then my brain just went into this catastrophizing phase. And I'm not going to lie to you, it was not very nice. I remember feeling hella weak because of it. And I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? I kid you not, I was literally in a blanket for an hour. Like, literally didn't want to come out of it. I was sweating. I thought, I am screwed. What am I going to do? And I didn't know how to handle the anxiety at all. And I remember that day, I literally was like, you just got to carry on going. Literally carried on working throughout GCSEs, kind of just worked myself to the ground, ignored how I was feeling, wasn't sleeping, and that repeated pretty much the whole time. And then obviously exams finished, the anxiety went away, then went to A levels. Anxiety was fine then, wasn't too bad. Still felt anxiety, but once again just ignored it, carried on. Then I think I got to university where I did my master's degree in pharmacy, and that's when mental health took a real toll. That's when it went really bad. So then when I got to my second year pharmacy, I think it was the Christmas exams, the ones you do in January, after you finish your semester in December. I remember doing the exams for revision for it, and we had so much to do that year. I remember it was just so much work. I thought, God, how am I going to do all this? And then I literally, it got to the point where I had so much work to do, I didn't know what to do at what time, and I would panic and catastrophize in my head, thinking, literally, I've got all this work to do. What if the exam's much harder than I think? What if I haven't done enough? Why haven't I done this? You're gonna fail. You're not good enough. Yeah, honestly, having those negative thoughts made my anxiety spiral out of control. Because for me, like with anxiety, I would get both the mental like symptoms of it, but also the physical. Mainly physical at first, but then that would then eventually affect my mental. Because the physical, I would shake, I would become breathless, like I need to catch my breath, or like I would start to sweat. But the thing is, this would happen to me at night time that I noticed. So then my sleep would be all over. Like I wouldn't even be able to sleep properly. It used to be like I used to be awake most of the night, and then I used to wake up the next morning, and then feel so tired. Also, I'm so tired. I need to take a nap. But then when I take a nap, my brain will be like, "What are you doing? You got to study. You got an exam. You need to get a first class. You need to do well, or people won't like you, or your parents will be proud of you, or you're not good enough, or your self worth is low." So then I was like, "Crap! I need to get up, go study again." And then I would try and study, but sometimes I would freeze because I'd be like, "So much work." I'm like, "I'm struggling. I don't understand this, or it's just too hard." Or I think, "Oh, I'm not doing enough." Even though I was doing like so many hours, it was like you are doing enough, but my brain is like it was like a cognitive distortion or something. Like I wasn't doing enough, or I wasn't, I was gonna fail, or that I used to look at the exams and like completely catastrophize about them because you think, man, these exams are gonna be so hard. I used to like completely overthink them. Then I used to go to sleep. Then I used to be stressed again, and then I wake up in the morning, and then I would feel too tired to do anything, and then I fall behind. Then I tried to take a nap, and then my brain would be like, "Get up, you need to study." And then it used to be this massive loop and loop. And then what also didn't help me with the anxiety is like sometimes if the work was a bit too hard, I tried to avoid it. But I noticed like from past experience, avoiding anxiety is not good because if you avoid it, it's almost like you're teaching your brain to basically run from the thing that's stressing you out, and that makes anxiety even worse. So then this went on for like a couple of days where I literally just wasn't sleeping like properly at all. Like it got to the point where literally I was sleeping, I'd guess like 3 or 4 or maybe like 2 or 3 hours a night, and literally got to the point where I couldn't even function. I couldn't even work properly. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I wouldn't even talk to anyone. I didn't message anyone because I thought if I message anyone, they're going to think I'm so weak. Because I used to look at everyone else and no one else was struggling, or it seemed so anyway. No one ever used to talk about it. And I was like, it's just me. I'm weak. I'm just like, I can't take this. I'm not strong enough. So then I would just keep myself in a shell. Because at the time I didn't really know how to handle anxiety. Because I was like, I've had this before, and I just rushed through it before and kind of didn't acknowledge it. So I thought, yeah, that's just the right approach to do. But I think this time my anxiety was a lot worse. So I thought, let me go to the doctors. So I went to the doctors, got an appointment. To be honest with you, that was a mistake because they didn't really do much to just put me on blood pressure tablets. So they measured my blood pressure, and then I got put on like blood pressure medication. Didn't really solve anything, I'm not gonna lie. It kind of like helped the physical symptoms a little bit. That could have been placebo because I thought, oh yeah, I'm taking a tablet, I'm feeling better now. But then it just got worse, it didn't get any better. And then I stopped taking the tablets after a day or two because I didn't want to depend on medication. I remember it got to the point where I was getting so tired, so stressed out, completely fried my brain. And then, like, because of the sleep deprivation, I was basically just so sleep deprived. I was catastrophizing more, worrying even more because I wasn't sleeping. I was falling behind. Then if I wasn't doing enough work, then I wasn't doing enough hours. Then I was going to fail. And then if I don't pass the exams, my life's over. Like it's over. You're not clever enough. And then all these negative, spiraling, like catastrophizing thoughts came. And it literally got to the point where I felt like slamming my head on my laptop and just going to sleep. And this would be like at 9 a.m., even though I've been in bed like 9 or 10 hours. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And I just remember my mom coming into the room one day and she was literally like, you need to talk because you've not spoken and I can tell you're struggling. And I remember bursting into tears literally for 45 minutes. I remember looking at the clock like, how long have I cried for? I'm like, oh my God, it's from 10 to 11:15. Literally just yelling like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. This anxiety is horrible. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I don't know how to process this. I don't know what to do. I'm like, what do I do? Do I just drop out the exams? Back then, I'm very glad I didn't because I got first class on all the exams that I did in that semester anyway. So clearly, I knew I did enough, and I was like, "Is this some sort of like cognitive distortion or something? Like, what's going on? Like, what? You did well anyway." Obviously, at the time, I didn't know. At the time, I thought I was going to fail everything. And then literally, like, my mum was not like nice to me. She told me to get out of the house, go to uni, go study. Don't stay in house. Don't stay in the house all day. Studied that uni. They got me a takeaway in a day, which is quite nice. Just cheer me up. And I remember going to bed that night And I realized like me talking about it to someone, not keeping it bottled in, like going to get help when I needed it really helped. Because I remember that night, I literally slept for 10.5 hours straight. Literally was out cold, didn't go to the toilet in the night, literally just woke up and literally was just out cold. I remember going to bed at 11 and the next day, I had an exam the next day. That was my next exam was due because this was on a Sunday. And I remember getting up and it was 9:30. And I was thinking, oh my God, I've literally been to sleep for 10.5 hours straight. Normally I only sleep for about 7 hours. So I knew I was really, really tired. But honestly, that was the best I'd felt in a long time. Literally like letting it all out, letting someone know how I felt, not realizing like I wasn't weak for feeling that way, just really helped me clear my mental thought and help me, think better. And then I ended up doing well in the exams anyway. Yeah, so that afterwards I felt better, but then this problem just kept continuing and continuing. Like then it got into my third and fourth year, um, where the same thing would happen again. Bad sleep, I would think I'd do bad, and then I literally had such low self worth, like thinking I'm a failure. My parents aren't gonna love me if I don't do well in these exams, even though they didn't put any pressure on me. Or like I was thinking, if I don't do this, I'm not gonna get a good job. I'm not gonna make enough money, or in the future, or I'm just not clever enough. This is too hard for me. I had all these like self-limiting beliefs just because of all the stress I was getting into. But then it started translating to other things. So, like initially my anxiety was due down to like doing exams, like anything that I'm trying to put my mind to. It's almost like I'll self-sabotage myself, like not thinking I could do it. And I'm like, oh, it's just too hard, just leave it, do something else. My brain would rather be in a state of comfort. It would rather me like go watch something, go do something that's not productive, take your mind off it. But with anxiety is one of them things where if you don't deal with it head on and you don't actually try to deal with what's making you anxious, it's just anything else is distraction. And the distraction is leading you to avoid the behaviors you need to actually combat the anxiety, which therefore gives the anxiety strength, which is not good because then it just makes you feel worse. And then I remember I was getting anxiety like all the time, even about general things. It wasn't even academic anymore. Anything I did, I used to stress out because I used to think things were going to go wrong, or I need to worry if I want this to go particularly well, because when I worry, things go well. And I'm like, this is not right. And then it would happen every single semester. I'd work hard, I'd stress out, or anything I tried, I get tired, do well, feel better after. And I was like, this is unhealthy because, like, literally my hairs are going white. I'm literally not sleeping very well. I'm minimizing social interaction. And I'm like, this needs to change. So I remember when in my fourth year, in my last semester, I actually went through counselling because of it, like a group anxiety counselling where, you go to with a group of people online and you basically talk to a counsellor and they talk to you about anxiety, kind of having a better understanding of it and stuff. And that helped, to be fair. That was pretty good. I still have documents from that to this day. I still got them on my laptop. I still look at them time to time. Then it helped me get a better understanding of what anxiety was and the worrying thoughts and the catastrophizing. But then recently, the main reason why I started the channel anyway was because my anxiety started to spread to everything. Like then, it's like I remember the rules, but then I wasn't practicing them as much. It's like as soon as the anxiety would go, I wouldn't manage it anymore. I'm like, yeah, cool, the anxiety thing's gone. I don't have to worry about it anymore. But it used to creep up and it got more intense. And then it started to, like, I used to stress about every little thing, like, getting to work on time, or whether it's going to be late, or I'm going to be, just not good, or what people are going to think of me, or if I'm at work, like, oh, I'm not doing enough. You know what I mean? I'm not putting enough effort in. What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? What if this happens? Then it'd be like, oh, you're not good enough. You're not clever enough. You're not good enough to be able to do this. Even though I've done this job for like 2 years now, being qualified. And I'm like, where are all these thoughts coming from? So then I did a lot of research, looked back to the notes, and obviously now I'm going to move on to the next section of the video. So I've talked about my experience with anxiety, has affected me pretty bad. Obviously, I look like kind of like, monotone face when I talk about it, but I don't want to talk about like, how do I describe it? It's like if I go into too much depth with it, I feel like I might tear up. So I'm like, I don't really want to do that because it's like, I don't know if you guys want to see me cry on camera or anything, but yeah, it was really negative, and I wanted to make the channel just to show that like it's okay to show your emotions, it's okay to be vulnerable. I'd rather like someone cry on my shoulder and let me know how they're feeling as opposed to keeping it bottled in and not tell anyone until it's too late. So yeah, that was the whole purpose of the channel anyway. I keep going on tangents, honestly. Wait, focus. So basically now I wanted to move on to the next section of the video, which is basically talking about, my idea of what anxiety is and remedies and, therapies I've tried to basically help manage it. Not get rid of it, but manage it. So, like, basically, why I think of anxiety now. So, back then, I used to think anxiety was a really negative emotion. I'm like, I need to get it out of all costs. I'm like, no. Anxiety is an emotion, it's not you. You are not anxiety itself. Anxiety is an emotion that you experience, it's something your body does to keep you safe. It's like a survival mechanism. It's been in our biology for a very, very long time. The whole purpose of it is to keep you safe. The only problem is sometimes with anxiety, it can kind of become distorted. So your body obviously tries to keep you alive. That's the main reason it sends, the flight or flight response, you get the physical symptoms and stuff. It's trying to keep you alive. It's trying to keep you safe. But the only problem is sometimes anxiety in your brain can become distorted, where certain threats you perceive in your environment, your brain thinks that it's going to kill you. And I'm like, it's not going to kill you. It's just in your brain. Your brain thinks that, like, you're going to come into a lot of harm or a lot of problems if this particular event is something that you confront. The only problem is with anxiety, you can't avoid it. You got to confront it for it to actually, like, to you to actually deal with it and manage with it. And things related to anxiety, the more you confront your fears, the more you confront the things that make you anxious, the better that your anxiety management will be over time. You'll be able to deal with situations that cause you anxiety better because you'll have the mindset and understand, okay, what is it that makes me anxious? What can I do to basically confront it and make it more manageable? So I have like quite a few methods I use to help manage my anxiety in general, because recently it's not just been work, like academic related. It's been like in general about life. Where am I going? What am I doing with my life? Where's the progression? What are you working towards? Regrets, the ways you spend time. And obviously I have these thoughts quite a lot now. So I'm just thinking, okay, what can I do to best manage it? So I've been on like YouTube, and I've like, I'm taking a therapist anyway at the minute. Basically I've seen this 5-step approach that I've seen on YouTube. And basically it's quite a good method to help you understand the way you feel. So this is like one method I use. I'll list another few other methods I use after this. But this 5-step method basically helps you kind of understand your anxiety and what to do with it. So the first step is observe. So that's more like observing how you're feeling with your anxiety. So that's like, how do you physically feel? Are you shaking? Are you tense? Are you sweating? What are your thoughts? How does your body feel? If I want to be honest with you, this step is going to feel pretty uncomfortable, because anxiety isn't really like a nice feeling. It's like almost like excitement. It's like excitement, but in a bad way, in the way it feels. So I'd say anxiety with that, just observe the feeling, acknowledge it. Because over time, with this first step, you'll notice that you're okay with the feeling. The feeling's not going to kill you. You're not going to die instantly. You're going to have the feeling, the anxiety, and you're going to be fine. So the first step was observe. Second step I say is called willingness. So you have to be willing to experience the anxiety emotion. So kind of let experience in your body, feel it, and know that you're okay. The anxiety is going to make you feel like you're in danger. You're not. Just realize in the moment that you're okay. You're not in harm's way. Your life's not at risk. The easiest way I do it is I close my eyes. I kind of put my feet on the floor, take a slow, deep breath, and kind of just be present. Because I think anxiety is more of like an emotion where you're fearful of the future. So try to close your eyes and be in that moment where you are, and just breathe and just realize that, like, it's stressful, but I'm okay. I think also in this step, I also help to try and like reframe your mind. So when I've got my eyes closed and I'm breathing, I'm just thinking, how can I reframe the anxiety and the way I'm feeling into something that's more positive and more useful to me? So I'd say, like, example, if like you're feeling, oh, if you get a thought and it says your anxiety, the anxiety feeling is too uncomfortable to handle. Maybe think, if you're preparing for some sort of like performance or something, or like an exam, you can think to yourself, oh, okay, no, this anxiety will help me prepare. Cool. Second step was willingness. Third step, I'd say, is exploring. So this is basically trying to figure out in your mind whether your anxiety is actually keeping you safe. So what I do is I ask questions to myself like, are you safe right now? Are you in danger? Is this anxiety helping you to get through this particular problem? Obviously, sometimes the anxiety can be blown out of proportion. So sometimes you can think, okay, it's probably not helping me. It's actually just making things worse. Also, I try to reevaluate my thoughts about the current anxiety. So sometimes I think, are you having like all or nothing thinking? Are you thinking, the worst is going to happen? Are you thinking negatively? Are you catastrophizing? Are you having like something they call black and white thinking, like it's all going to go right, also it's going to go completely wrong? I think also it's worth exploring only because sometimes it helps us decide whether either to basically take any action that we can do in our control to get us out of that danger, or can we like put steps in place to soothe our minds, our anxious thoughts, to basically show ourselves that we're not in danger. Okay, yeah, so step number four, I say, is clarifying and choosing. So that's basically where you've got your thoughts now you're choosing what you're going to do with them. So there are two kind of important things you should do. So one of them is basically about control. So that's about, thinking about what can you control, what's within your locus of control, and what isn't in your control. What is something that you can deal with, that you can actually do something about, and anything else that that is out within, like this is like outside of your remit of control, leave it. There's nothing you can do about it. You should leave it. One of the things I find hard to deal with that, because it's sometimes you want it all to go well, you don't want any uncertainty, but be honest, if your life's full of uncertainties, things are going to hit you when you don't expect them. Sometimes problems that you come up with, or that come into your life, you never expect it to happen, they just happen. So I've obviously at times just tried to learn, I can't control everything. I can't make everything go the way I want it to go. So, anything that I can control, I'll do it the best I can. Anything else, I'll just leave. Another one is basically values. So that's basically, what do you value in life? What means a lot to you? So it could be like, for example, with me, when it came to like academics or like general anxiety, I could value, do I value running away from that particular discomfort and rushing to comfort and not dealing with my issues, or do I value actually confronting them and actually like getting through the problem and helping my mental well-being, something like that. Or example, if you're like a really busy person, um and you have a lot of commitments, you can't really say no to anyone, you could value your actions and value your goals and stuff, and think, okay, I've made all these commitments to everything, what do I value the most? What is one thing or a couple of things in my routine that's leaving me really stressed out? Because what you can do is you can look at all your things in your agenda that you've said yes to and potentially drop some of them, some stuff that leaves you stressed out and doesn't contribute to your values of life, and then you can cut some of them out, and what you notice is you're less stressed, and then you actually got more free time to do what you want, self-care, rest, and do hobbies that you want to do. So the last step, the 5-step method, is called act or accept. So this is where basically step 4, we chose like what our thoughts and what we're going to do. Step 5 is basically either actually doing something about them, so actually putting it into practice, or accepting stuff we can't control. Because life, like I said before, there's things in life that you're not going to be able to control. So really, you just have to accept them and say, okay, whatever happens, happens in those situations. But there are certain situations where you can do something about it. You can do your best to act on them. And I think good ways is trying to plan your actions against your values, like we said in step 4, about what you value in your life and what means a lot to you. So like for me, for example, I like helping people. That's the main reason I did my job anyway. That's why I picked it. I know it gives me anxiety recently, along with other things that have made me a bit anxious. So the way I think about it in my brain is that, okay, there's stuff at work I can't control. Fair enough, I accept that. But I know this is a job that's worthwhile to me. It fits in my values of helping people, helping the public. I know that comes with a bit of anxiety, and that's perfectly fine. It's not a negative emotion that I shouldn't be allowed to feel. It's just because I care. I want to do good and I care about it. The way I think about it is I choose to feel the way that I do. I choose to act to my values, and I do the thing anyway. I do the actions that make me nervous anyway. And what I've noticed is when you keep doing this over time, what you'll notice is your body is going to notice that you went through that stressful event, but nothing actually happened. You're not in danger, you didn't lose your life or anything. It starts to kind of almost rewire your brain. That's what I've noticed I've started to do more recently, of getting out of my comfort zone and, actually facing the anxiety rather than running. And what you'll notice is over time, your ability to basically manage and decrease anxiety gets better over time. And in my opinion, that just makes your life more meaningful, because you're able to live life, not as stressed, and be able to handle your discomforts and live the life that you want to. Just a note anyway, there's this 5-step method is not from me. I didn't invent this method. I found it on a YouTube channel called Therapy in a Nutshell. Don't know if any of you have ever watched that channel before, but honestly, the YouTuber, the woman who does it, she's brilliant. Honestly, I've watched so many of her videos, and I've taken notes from her videos, just like, and practiced them in real life, and they really do work. So if you're ever thinking about anxiety management and all kinds of other like emotions, and how to deal with them, I'd recommend you check out our channel, which I'll probably link in the description so you can look at. Yes, a new dawn, it's a new day. I've had to film this on another day. Just life's been a bit hectic, so I've been trying to film in clips when I can. So whenever you see the video, the clips will be kind of all over the place, but apologies. In the future, I try and do the videos like in one go. I've already mentioned the 5 steps of how to get better with your anxiety. There's also other tips I've tried, so I thought I'd put like a few extra tips in the end of the video to try and help you, to see if, you know, these tips help you with your anxiety if you suffer from it. So another one would be addressing your thoughts during the day. What I noticed is, because I learned that I get anxious at night, the only reason why that used to happen was because during the day, I never actually thought about my anxiety. I would distract myself with games, anime, TV shows. But the problem is, when you come at night, you sit there all alone, and there are now no more distractions. So you're in the middle of the night, and you've got your eyes closed, and you're putting your head on the bed. And now your brain is like, oh, now we've got some free time to talk about those worries and anxiety that you've been avoiding all day. And for me, that's what one of the big problems was. My brain would then try to address all my issues and thoughts at nighttime because I'd been distracting myself and avoiding them during the day. So if I were you, during the day, maybe try and schedule something called worry time. So that's a time in the day where you have a particular time slot where you will worry or you will try to address your anxious thoughts. It could be 5, 10 minutes, it could be half an hour. You set it at a time and you tell your body if it feels anxious at like 10 a.m., you say to yourself, okay, I've got my scheduled worry time at 6 p.m. We won't think about it now. We'll talk about it later. And obviously just make sure you do that. The next one I'd say would be about locus of control, and like what I said before about thinking about things what you can and can't control. Whatever you can control about a particular situation that stresses you, try do your best to control it. Do what you can. Don't beat yourself up if you couldn't control everything in your remit. If you could, it's fine. Just do your best. When it comes to things you can't control, that's where I started to struggle, because I started to try and control things that I couldn't control. I was like, I literally have no power over this thing. Why am I stressing about it? I just have to accept the uncertainty around that particular thing. And just, whatever happens, happens. It takes time to adjust to that, but you have to accept in life, nothing is certain. Nothing is guaranteed. You can control some things, obviously, that can affect the future, but there are things that you can't do anything about, and if it happens, it happens. And you have to think, if it does happen, what's the worst that could happen? And if it does happen, will I survive? Will I be in trouble? Is my life at risk? Another thing I've done recently with thoughts is journaling. I don't know if anyone's ever tried that. It's basically, you drop what you're feeling throughout the day, and you think, okay, I had this emotion at this time. Why did I feel that way? And you kind of like, with the 5-step method, you start to challenge the way you think. So let's say you get an anxious thought during the day about, trying to think of an example. You got this particular assignment coming up and it's stressing you out and you don't think you've done enough, like what I used to do. You kind of jot your thoughts, like, why do I think this way? What's like the worst thing that can happen? And then you try to rationalize your thoughts in like a realistic way to think, okay, is that really going to happen? Is that me catastrophizing? Is that me thinking the worst is going to happen? How likely is that going to happen? Is it true? Realistically, if it does happen, am I going to die? Am I going to be in trouble? What's the worst consequence? I noticed with that, it kind of calms my anxious mind a bit, because it kind of puts things into perspective, and it makes you think, really, I'm just kind of stressing and overreacting for no reason. Once again, every tip I give is going to take time. It's not something you can just do one time, and then the next time you get an anxious event, you're not going to be anxious. It doesn't work that way. Another tip I would say is don't ignore it. If you notice that the anxiety is there, it's there because your body's trying to help you. It's not like a villain. You need to basically think, okay, I've got this feeling, I don't want to ignore it. What can I do about it to try and get it under control? Because then if you ignore it, you're kind of telling your body, this is the threat that is bad, because you're not addressing it. So it will kind of amplify the anxiety response, like the fight or flight response, the sympathetic nervous system response more, which is not what you want, because then it makes you feel worse, and it kind of puts you on the path of getting into like a spiral of negative thoughts. So if you do have it, I've tried the journaling and just try to address the thoughts rather than ignore them. Another big one that I'd say helped me is something called mindfulness. So it's kind of being aware about how you're thinking in the present moment. I've tried a few things to practice with this. So every night now, I actually meditate for 25 minutes. So I close my eyes and I focus on my breathing. I focus on how the air is going through my nose, how my chest is going up and down, like the air's going through my lungs. And what I do is, every single time I get distracted, because this age is quite easy to get distracted, there are distractions everywhere trying to capture our attention. What I do is, I basically notice that distraction thoughts are there, but I gradually try to bring back my focus back to my breathing. And I did it every single time that I get distracted. And I noticed that when you start to breathe, you kind of bring yourself into the present moment and realizing that you are okay and nothing bad has happened. You notice your attention span starts to improve. I notice it's a lot easier for me to work on things now. I don't tend to pay more attention to things that distract me in my brain, like anime, gaming, going on social media apps and stuff. I notice that I feel a lot more calmer. My brain's a bit more rational when it comes to like potential threats that I perceive and like the degree of how scary they are. So the purpose I do the breathing exercises is to kind of redirect my brain from the negative thoughts I can feel when I catastrophize, worry, get anxious. And it kind of like makes you refocus on things that are meaningful to you and things that you value. It kind of puts your brain in more of a positive mindset. That makes sense, and it helps you keep calmer over time. But obviously, with the breathing, it's not just going to work over one night. You've got to be consistent with it. I've been doing it every night for a couple of weeks now. It's hard, don't get me wrong. Sitting there for 25 minutes and just breathing is like difficult. I didn't realize how hard this would be. Initially, I did like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then I upped it to like 15, but I did that in the first week. So by the end of the week, I went from 5 minutes to 25. There are sometimes I was just sitting there and I was like, damn, how long is this timer going to be? Because I'm getting so distracted. But that's a good thing. You want to get distracted because it'll train your body to redirect your attention from the negative, anxious thoughts that you feel into like more thoughts about, what means more to you. Another tip I'd say is about self-compassion. Don't think you're weak because you feel anxiety. You're not. You're not weak. Anxiety is an emotion you feel. You are not anxiety itself. It's just an emotion that happens in life. It's a normal emotion, but sometimes it can get out of hand and it can affect your brain. It makes you worry. And honestly, sometimes anxiety gets so bad, it feels like everything is crumbling around you. You feel like, oh my God, I can't handle it. Everyone else is fine and I'm not. You're not weak. Everyone experiences it. Just not a lot of people talk about it because it's an uncomfortable feeling. It's not nice having all the physical shaking, the sweating, the worrying thoughts all the time. It's not very nice. That's what the whole purpose I made the channel was try to help people out with this kind of problem. When you feel anxious, you tend to be very negative towards yourself. Like, why am I so weak? Why am I feeling like this? It's such a negative feeling. But be kind to yourself. If someone else was in your situation and they were stressing out, would you say the thoughts you say to yourself to them? Or would you be nice to them? You'd be nice. So the way this works is be nice to yourself too. Tell yourself it's okay to feel this way. It's normal. What can we control? What can we not? What's the worst situation and what can we do about it? Another one I'd say is don't suffer in silence. Or because you feel anxiety doesn't mean no one else experiences it and you can't talk to anyone. Yes, you can. You are allowed to talk to someone. You feel anxious does not make you weak. People suffer from all the time and just don't talk about it a lot. If you feel like you need to talk to someone and let it out, get someone's opinion on what to do, that's fine. Talk to someone. Someone's letting it out can be the best thing you do because if you leave it too much bottled inside and you talk to someone it's too late. Yeah, honestly, I've done that so many times because I've been too scared to ask anybody because I'm like, oh my God, I feel anxious. Are they going to judge me? Are they going to think I'm weak? Are they not going to like me if I tell them that? Because they probably got their own problems as well. And I'm like, here's me dumping my problems onto them. But I'm like, it's good to talk. Like, it will make you feel a lot better, and you'll notice that it will help with. It will definitely help with like your anxiety processing over time. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say for the YouTube video. Pretty much. Yeah, I think I've gone through everything. What like my anxiety journey was like, which is still going on now. It's not gone. What I've done to help, what's worked, what hasn't. Some tips to help you. Obviously, it was kind of brief. I didn't go into too much detail. If you want me to go into more depth about anxiety and like the science of it, like the chemicals, how it go in the brain, or even more tips, or if you want me to go into more depth on the tips I've talked about, because I kind of just skimmed through loads of them, because it was quite like an information dump. Let me know in the comments. I don't mind doing it. It's cool. I plan to make some clips as well, just like quick clips, so that you guys can look at information to help help you manage anxiety in the moment a bit quicker. Maybe it helps with like viewer retention and stuff. I've also made a blog post on Substack. It's like a platform where you can like post writing. It'll be basically like this, but like in written form, like what I've spoken at in a written form. Give it a look. I'll put it in the link in the description on this video. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. You can read it. It's about the same thing. It'll just be like in a written format. If you're interested in blogs and stuff. Yeah, that's all I want to talk about today. So hopefully that video has been helpful for you. Subscribe and like if you want to. It's cool. If leave a comment if it helped you. Honestly, as long as this helps like one person, it'd be so cool to see a comment to say like, this helped me a lot or these tips really helped. That'd mean the world. That'd be so cool. It put a massive smile on my face because I'm like, yes, I actually helped someone. Nice. actually did something to help somebody who's going through the same thing or similar to what I'm going through. But yeah, be cool. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about today. Take care, and yeah, the next video I think it might be about catastrophizing and worrying thoughts, or I'm trying to think what else I could talk about. Maybe different like mental states and how to get through them. Like I said before, catastrophizing, worrying, feeling depressed or like low self worth. Because I've never had a lot of that. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. But let me know in the comments if you want me to talk about any other topics about mental health. I'm happy to talk about them. All right. Yeah. Take care. Hope you have a nice rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.